Alrighty, guys, All Facts Media here. My name is Andrew Robinson. I'm joined by my twin brother, Aaron Robinson. And today we are joined by two members of the 97-98 Chicago Bulls and Scott Burrell and Dickey Simpkins. So first and foremost, we want to thank you guys for coming on with us today, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Wow, no problem.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. Huh?
Sir. So obviously, right now this is an interesting time, with the Last Dance documentary that's premiering right now on ESPN, and you two are definitely two members who were front and center for that whole thing. So, first question is we just want to talk to you guys and get your perspective on, first of all, the documentary. But I want to ask you guys, what was it like just going through that season 97-98 and having the cameras rolling and then being able to look back at that now and just kind of see it unfold. So, we can start with Coach Burrell, and then we can go with Dickey Simpkins after.
I just, for me, it was the cameras didn't make a difference because I was nervous to be there anyway, and just to fit in with the team, a team that won 2 championships in a row. Dickey's done it before, so he's been there for 3, and he was used to winning, used to playing with the hardest working team, the team with the most structure. So I was just trying to fit in, learn the offense with a team that's been running it for 3 years. So I was always a step behind. But once I learned it a little bit, I got a little more comfortable. Then I could play a little more loose because I was playing so tight at first when I first got there.
Hey, first of all, let's let the records say and know that Scott Burrell owes me for his championship ring. He owes me for his championship ring. We didn't get that. I had to make that trade go down for him to get over there and get that ring. So
but you end up coming back.
I did. No, yeah. I did. But to answer you guys' question, yeah, like Scott said, I had kind of already, been around the environment, been around the rock band on the road tour type thing. So, I guess for me, it was when MJ came back, it went from 0 to 100 my rookie season. So that was probably the biggest moment of transition. It went 0 to 100, and ever since then, I was cool with everything. And it's like my mother always said. She always told me, act like you've been there. So I always try to act like I've been there.
Now, obviously, you guys were two people that got to play, with Michael Jordan. Obviously, Coach Burrell, you did it for 1 year. And Dickey, you did it for, a number of years. What was it like, being in practice with him, being on the road with him, being in games with him, the intensity, the joking side of him, what was all that like? We'll start with you, Dickey, since you were, with him for a number of years, and then we'll go to Scott after.
Well, you get to find out real quick the level of intensity that MJ has from a competitive standpoint, and how that kind of trickles down to everybody else, and you kind of just fall in line to your role and to your job, because you're watching the greatest player to ever play the game get it done in practice and in the game. So it's like you don't want to be that dude. You don't want to be that dude letting the team down, letting MJ down, and next thing you know, you get shipped out of there. So you find out the intensity from the leadership of MJ real quick. And, just like Scott's a professional guy, I'm a professional guy. I mean, you get in line and, you do your job. You do your job.
Yeah, like piggybacking off what Dickey said, the intensity, it's like no other team. The attention to details is like no other team. Dickey, even during stretching lines, they wanted us to be 8 feet apart or 10 feet apart. They would always say 10 feet spacing, because everything is predicated in spacing in basketball. I mean, if you're too close to your teammate in basketball, nothing's going to work. So, I mean, everything is it's you go back to the fundamentals of basketball when you go back to Chicago. But it's good because it teaches you everything, and you learn a lot. And practice was so hard. I felt like games sometimes were easier than practice because he didn't yell as much in the games because number one, he had to worry about winning the game. So you had a little reprieve.
Yeah. The mental part was the real deal. The mental part was the real deal, from the detail the detail of everything with the offense, and then the mental toughness.
Yeah.
Be able to, do your job and withstand MJ, bringing the intensity, yelling at guys. You better be able to handle it mentally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the name of this documentary is The Last Dance. And I think, obviously, for me and my brother, being younger guys, looking back on it, for me, it's like, obviously, we know you guys ended up going on to win the championship that year, the second three-peat. And a lot of people, from my perspective, are kind of watching this, and they're like, why was this the last dance? You know what I'm saying? Like, you going off a second three-peat. This was the sixth championship that you had won. You guys had won that in that decade. There was a lot to be said about Jerry Krause and his decision to kind of dismantle the team after that year. He made it very vocal. What was it like for you guys going through that season, knowing that this would be, the last year that you guys would be together as a group? Obviously, there was a lot of trials and tribulations that kind of came with that as well. So when you going through that, what was that like, knowing that kind of you guys had to face the reality that was going to be the last year that group was going to be together? We start with Coach Burrell and then go.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was you just don't know if you're ever going to get a chance to win a championship. So, and Dickey won a few already. So he could be a little more relaxed than I could because he's been there and knows the ropes of winning. For me, like I said, you don't know where you're going to end up next year. If you do end up somewhere, because nothing's guaranteed in life. I mean, I was a free agent after that year. So I knew it was probably my only chance to win a championship. And I knew with all the distractions that are going on the court, off the court, I couldn't worry about that stuff at all. I mean, whatever Jerry Krause and Scotty's issues were, that stuff to everyone else was nothing really. Because we all know we had to worry about our roles. And we had to bring it and prepare ourselves every day for each game and practice. So, I mean, I just knew take advantage of this opportunity. You never know if you're going to get it again. And as hard as it was, but enjoy the whole process. Enjoy the process and learn from the process.
Yeah, I mean, Scott was there at the beginning of The Last Dance, so I was over trying to figure out why Sprewell was choking Carlissimo, so I was kind of in a different space at the beginning of the season. So when I got, the Golden State let me go when they did the Joe Smith trade, so I was a casualty of war. So my agent called me like 2 weeks later, said Jerry Krause called and said Phil and MJ wanted you back. So when I got there, I got the Cliff Notes version of where everything was at, and Phil brought me up to his office, got me up to speed with the Last Dance literature that he had put together, kind of caught me up to speed where the intensity and the energy and everything was, and, broke down what he needed me to do. So I got the quick version, which I had kind of seen everything for the first two championships where stuff was going as far as that energy between Jerry, Phil, and MJ. I kind of saw where it was going. So when I came back, I wasn't surprised that it hit the boiling point. And, Phil did a good job of keeping us locked in on what we were doing. And, you just had to do your job. So I came in and it was just like, hey, I pretty much figured this would get to this point. So I was kind of used to that situation. So it wasn't really, it was like me coming back was like I blended back in like I had never left.
Now, obviously, looking back, hindsight is always 20/20, man. Do you guys ever have a moment where you look back and say, man, like, what if Cross would have let Phil stay another year? What if we didn't, shut things down? What if we could have kept MJ? Obviously, he was very vocal during the season saying if Phil left, he was out. So is there any ill will towards Jerry Krause, or looking back, wondering, like, man, like, what if we could have kept that team together? We could have maybe won 4 in a row, or, who knows what could have been accomplished. Is there any of that, looking back on this now?
I think so, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the next season was a shortened season. If you're worried about the team getting old, I mean, that's another way to win a cheated championship. Because, everyone's getting a little older, but playing 5 or 4 months compared to 8 months or more, you can sneak a championship out of that in 50 games. So it could have been 4 in a row. But like I said, the 3 main pieces were going to be there. After that, you didn't know who was going to be there. So I had to worry about myself getting signed somewhere else or somewhere. But so, I mean, as long as Scotty, Michael, and Dennis were playing and Tony Kukoc, we didn't know who else was going to be fit in the other spots. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess at that particular time, you kind of thought about what if, and then you didn't. Once it moved on, once it was reality, once it was really confirmed, then you kind of just moved on moved on from there. I think it's been more of a what if lately because of the Golden State saying they could beat that team and Shaq saying he could beat that team, which they're supposed to say those things. Then it becomes a what if. You wonder if the team would stay together, could they have done one more championship, 4 in a row? And I mean, I would never bet against MJ. And like Scott said, a short season could have got it done. And that's the only what if that I do. Otherwise, I think it ended on a good note. You end on a championship and you walk away. But it's a little bit of what if we could have got another one. But like Scott said, the only guarantee of the what if was MJ, Scotty, D-Rod, and Tony were going to be there. so it could have been a what if. It could have been a what if. It could have been a what if I wasn't going to even be there anymore.
So. Right. So you guys also mentioned Dennis Rodman. So we definitely got to talk about this whole Vegas 48-hour trip. And I know Coach Burrell, you were definitely there when that whole thing went down. And first of all, I want to talk about like what that was like. When you guys are in practice and the guy just in the middle of the season that I need a vacation, and just what was the moment like for the rest of the guys on the team? Like what was you guys' reaction? Who were you guys' thoughts? And obviously when it didn't come back after the 48 hours, like what were you guys thinking?
That's one thing Phil was great with. Phil was great with coaching personalities, and there was a lot in that team. But, like, Dennis would miss once a week, once every 2 weeks, and go have fun. But when he took his extra couple days, I mean, like I said before, only a few people worry about that stuff. The other guys just worry about doing what you got to do. Michael, Scotty, that worry about, and Phil worry about that. And because if you worry about the other stuff, you're not doing your job. You're not thinking about what you have to do. And our job was to play our roles. So whatever it may be. But whenever Dennis came back, we knew he was going to do his job. But he needs to let off some steam, enjoy his life. But when he came back to rebound 20 a game, 25 a game, 18 a game, 30 a game. So whatever it takes for him to get back and clear his mind, feel free. And nobody else on the team cared. No one cared because they were worried about doing what they had to do.
Yeah, I mean, the Last Dance gave that one example. And so everybody watched the show thinking like, wow, that's crazy. But Scott had seen that numerous times. And I had already seen that in the first 2 years of Dennis there in the first 2 championships. That wasn't the only time Dennis broke away to kind of let his hair down. So that was like
Dickey, he did it in the finals, Dickey.
Yeah, He did it in the finals. He did it in the championship before Scott got there. He did it in the first championship. He did it through the season. I mean, at the end of the day, like Scott said, that wasn't my play. Like me trying to figure that out, worry about that, that wasn't my position. The bottom line was, I was there when Dennis got signed, and all of us was like, wow, how this is gonna play out. And if any place for Dennis to go where he would respect guys was the Chicago Bulls. And I give it to Pip, MJ, and Phil. They managed that situation with Dennis real well. They gave him the room he needed to relax. He handled his business when he played, and he respected those guys. And so that was just one time he did it. He broke away a number of times. But at the end of the day, I respect D-Rod. He came in when it was game time. All that other stuff, when it was game time, he came and did his job.
Played defense, rebounded, got in people's heads. Oh, he was awesome to play with, too. He never talked. What's up, bro?
Hey, I played 3 years with I played 3 years with D-Rod. Had 2 conversations in 3 years with
him. But he watched a lot of film and lifted a lot of weights and did a lot of cardio. That dude was on those Stairmasters.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So obviously, one of the other big storylines from that season, in the beginning of the year was Scotty, obviously, and his contract. The fact that he was making so much less money than 100 some other players in the league and 6, 7 other players on the team. And obviously, at the beginning of the year, he decided to not play, to get his surgery, to rehab his surgery. Obviously, they were talking about the documentary, him and Jerry on the bus that were screaming at each other. And what was that like? Through that time period, you're watching these guys go at it. Obviously, beginning of your season, you guys started off struggling, losing games, and you're like, Scotty, man, we need you. And obviously, him and Jerry had a relationship was going sour at that point. So, what was that whole situation like? Being a part of that, and watching that go down, and what was going through your mind as players during that time period?
It's never like I've never seen anything like it before. I mean, but like. I mean, it was bad. It was bad, but I mean, like again, Scotty has to do what he thinks he has to do. Nobody thought about Scotty. No one thought down at Scotty for holding out or whatever he did, waiting for surgery. We just hoped he got back healthy. Halfway through the season, a quarter into the season, because we knew how important he was. I mean, he did everything: played defense, ran the offense, rebounded, blocked shots. Scotty was awesome at 6'7", 6'8". We just know we needed him. And you knew he missed it, seeing him every day. But I think he wanted to go after the Bulls organization at first by sitting out and waiting. But then he realized he was letting everybody else down. And so he got the hunger to come back and do his job and help us win. And we needed him. The shots being thrown at Krause and back and forth, it's – like I said, you've never seen anything like that before. It was something else.
Yeah. I just got to say, like Scott said, and no job that I've ever been at and could ever imagine the type of dialogue that was at this corporate job. I call it a corporate job. The dialogue between players and management was pretty interesting that I've never seen before, and I doubt if I'll ever see anything like that before. But at the end of the day, winning trumps all that stuff. And, like Scott said, Pip had to handle his business. And I think with the whole situation, what happened was from both parties, the business became personal. And that's when it gets tough, when you let the personal kind of interfere with how you handle business. But at the end of the day, Pip deserved to voice his opinion, voice where he was with his contract situation. And he had to process that. He had to process that the best way he felt. And like Scott said, once he realized after he processed it, what was the most important part of the whole situation, being there for his team and winning a championship, it all fell into play. So, I mean, I don't fault Pip for doing what he needed to do and thinking it out. I think it brought a lot of extra talk for MJ to have to talk about it all the time. But other than that, Pip figured it out. And at the end of the day, came back and put that to the side. And so just it is what it is. I think the emotional part just got in the way for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, for us, for the casual basketball fan that's watching this documentary, you got, we're seeing a lot of behind the scenes action and people joking with Coach Burrell, talking about baby Rodman and this and that. What was Michael Jordan like?
Dickey likes that one. Look at
Dickey. What?
Dickey likes that one. Look at him.
Oh man, what? I mean, for you guys, like, what was Jordan like behind the cameras? Like, when the camera shut off and when you guys were on the road, and what was he like?
The same way he is on the camera. No matter if you're playing half-court shots, he's intense. No matter if you're playing cards, he wants to win. He's so competitive. I mean, he's a fun guy. He's funny. He cracks a lot of jokes, obviously, like you guys have seen. But he's a good guy. He hangs around people he trusts, and he tests you to see if he can trust you.
Yeah, obviously I got to see MJ from my rookie season all the way through the 3 championships. So I got to see a lot of MJ, and I'm just going to, the bottom line is, like Scott said, he was real intense, real competitive, and expected everybody else to do their job to the fullest or the highest ability like he does his job. And the one thing I always tell people after you see these documentaries, after you hear about how MJ, his teammates or punch Steve Kerr, whatever the case might be, at the end of the day, MJ, for the type of notoriety and being the most popular dude in the world, I got to see him handle that pretty well, because I don't know any person that would have been able to handle that at the end of the day like he did on and off the court, man. So I give him much props for handling being the most popular guy in the world at that time and still at this time. So that's pretty much what I saw.
I was trending the other day, Dickey, so I might catch him.
You certainly were, Coach. I give you that one.
Hey, did you see some of those lines on Twitter, man?
I sure did.
It's amazing what people say and think. It's
man.
It's so funny.
People just out of control out here, man.
What was going through your mind, Coach Burrell, when you reading that stuff?
I just laugh. I just laugh. I like to see creative minds, though. Like, someone put the Dave Chappelle one when he knocked the glass off the table and ran. That was good. Then I saw, was it Peel who was sweating?
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one, too. But I just like creative things, I just don't like when people lie and make up stuff. Be creative is fine, but don't lie and put stuff about other people. I mean, just use your imagination, but you don't have to lie about things.
Yeah. I guess one question on a little bit lighter note, man. Obviously, there's a bunch of stuff that's behind the scenes on the documentary, and you guys were a part of that. I guess we'll start with you, Dickey, and then we'll go to you, Scott. From Dickey, for your 3 years there, what's one funny story or crazy story that you can recall, from those years, on the Bulls, going through that whole circus, man, and then obviously you, Coach Burrell, will come to you after for your story.
Oh man, what's one crazy story? It's crazy to the fact that I played with D-Rod and only had 2 conversations. That's pretty crazy. So, that's crazy. Yeah. Hey, and what makes it even more crazy is Dennis talked to me. It was my second year, that 72-10 season. I was starting for Dennis because D-Rod was hurt. And we were on a trip, and he comes and sits next to me in the plane. I look like, yo, what's up with this dude that said nothing the whole time? And he asked me how I was doing. How did I feel like I was playing? I said, I feel like I'm playing pretty good. He was like, yeah, you are. He gave me some pointers and some tips, which I thought was cool. And then we don't talk again until after the last championship in Utah when we're in the locker room after the win. Fast forward that, like many years later when the Super Bowl was in Phoenix, I run into D-Rod at a party up in the hills in Phoenix, and D-Rod talks to me the whole night, longer than he ever had a conversation with me in 2 years, man. It was the craziest. But outside of that, I think the one story that I always tell is we're playing the San Antonio Spurs at the United Center, and this is before Scott game, and the rebound comes off, the clock's running down to halftime. MJ gets the rebound, and we break out, and it's only 3 people really breaking out. Pip is breaking out on the left lane. MJ's got the ball coming down the middle. I break out on the right lane, and the clock's running down 5, 4, 3, and a defender rushes up on MJ, but you think for sure, first option, second option, third option, fourth option is all MJ. Fifth option, sixth option, seventh option, eighth option, that's all Pip. I'm 0 option. He'd probably throw it to somebody on the bench before he threw it to me. MJ, the clock's running down. MJ flips it to me on the right lane. I catch that thing, shoot it off the one legger from the 3-point line. It goes off the glass and at the buzzer. And I keep running in the locker room like this is what I do on a regular basis. and then when everybody comes in the locker room, MJ is laughing, and I just look at MJ and said, you made the right decision.
That is good. That is good. I think my best story is it's kind of bad towards me, but it's funny. It's funny when you look at it. It's when we played 1-on-1, and
okay.
And he ended up beating me 7-6. And I said, "Come on!" And Harper, obviously Ron Harper, his boy, cheated for him. MJ traveled. Harper didn't call it. It's supposed to be my ball. I'm supposed to win 7-6. So after he beats me, I'm like, "Come on, we gotta play again because you can't win like that." Look, why am I gonna play you? So you can tell your family and your kids that you beat Michael Jordan, and you probably know the story. He's like, what am I gonna do? Tell my kids that I beat Scott Burrell? They're gonna slap me in my face. And when he said that, it's hilarious because, like he said, no one's gonna care if he beat me. You know what I'm saying? It's just funny. I mean, I'm humble enough. I can laugh. It's funny.
Right.
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, for you guys, obviously, both of you guys reflecting on back on this 20 years ago. You know, you guys have both been retired and doing great things in your own individual lives. Just reflecting back, just what were those moments like? Obviously, for you, Dickey winning 3 championships with the Bulls, and then for you, Coach Burrell, being able to be on that team for the last dance and kind of be able to send everybody out, the right way. Just 20 years after, being able to reflect, just what was that experience like for you guys, and just what does it mean to always be able to be etched in history as a part of those legendary Chicago Bulls teams? And you guys can go. You can start.
Go ahead, Scott. You got it.
For me, it's you always want to do something and leave a legacy. I knew I wasn't the best player on that team. I wasn't even close to it. But you're part of something that's special. Every athlete's goal should be to win a championship and make an impact on that team somehow, some way. And whether I played 1 minute, 20 minutes, I wanted to make an impact, and I felt like I did majority of the time. But I also got a chance to learn from the best and play with the best coaching staff. I mean, you got 3 Hall of Fame coaches on that staff, 2 or 3. You got 2 or 3 players in the Hall of Fame on that team. I hope I learned, and I hope I carry it throughout life. And like I said before, winning a championship is the most unbelievable feeling. And have your name on a banner up in the what's that? What's the name of the center, Dickey? United Center. Yeah, it's something special. Something special. And forever, people going there and see both of our names up there, and our names being along with a championship team.
Yeah, it brings back moments like this, man. Me dunking on Scott Burrell. It's like, make sure y'all get that on film right there. That's what it's all about right there. Just dunking on Scott Burrell.
First of all, I don't think he dunked. I think he missed it. First of all, I think I blocked it and he missed it. But no, seriously,
it's like Scott said. It's history, man, and nobody can ever take it away from us, and it'll be there forever. And we'll always get recognized for it. Like now with The Last Dance, all the attention that's circling back around to Scott and myself, people, just remembering that time, remembering that championship. So when we actually won the championships in the moment, it was just unbelievable, and it was just it was emotional. It was kind of hard to really grasp the full meaning of it. And now you fast forward, you're way down the road, and now it's like it means so much. You can really embrace the meaning of it because people recognize it and it's history. And I got a chance to play with the greatest player that ever played the game, and some of the top 50 players that ever played the game, and one of the best underrated complimentary stars in Tony Kukoc, and just played with a bunch of other teammates like Scott and all the rest of the guys is just unbelievable, man, and go down in history. So that's what it means to me.
Last question for you guys, man. Obviously, it's an age-old debate. Obviously, us young bucks, we debate all the time.
It's not a debate. Stop.
Is Michael Jordan the best player of all time, or LeBron the best player of all time? You got people that want to say Kobe's the best player of all time. What is your opinion on this? What's up with you, bro?
Well, my point is this. Number one, I think LeBron's a great player. But this is my point. If you need a bucket to end the game, I got 2 points to make. If you need a bucket to end the game, are you going LeBron, Kobe, or MJ? And if you pick all three of those guys, you're picking LeBron last. Because MJ is obviously your number one. Kobe's the second coming of Michael, so that's 2. And LeBron shooting a three-pointer from half court doesn't impress me, or running over someone over doesn't impress me, but I think he's a great player. But this is what I say to people. MJ scored 30 a game getting beat up every night. Every night. Double team, triple team, and literally beat up. If MJ played now, when everybody shakes their hands when someone goes down the paint, or they give you a high five when you're driving down the basket, MJ would average 50 points a game. So my point, so you put LeBron back 20 years ago, he would be a great player. But it takes a toll on you when you get beat up every night, every day. You don't want to go to hole, you're sore, you don't want to get beat up again. Your head's ringing from last game if you're one of the players getting hammered all the time. It takes a toll on you. It wears on you. But everybody's a friend. Everybody are best friends now. So it lacks a little competition. It lacks a little competitiveness. It lacks desire and passion. I mean, it's great everyone scores 40 points, but everybody shoots 15 threes a game. You should score 40. So it's different.
Yeah, for me, man, it's 2 things that pretty much sum this up. One, like, Kobe is the closest to MJ. LeBron is an unbelievable player, no question. The best player to ever play this game is MJ. And the reason why is only one reason. The ultimate mentality of a killer, putting his foot on your neck and setting the tone every night. No ifs, ands, or buts. He was a killer, set the tone every night.
Hey,
and
I'm sorry, no load management.
Yeah. And then the second thing, and pretty much sums it up, is until this changes, MJ will always be the greatest player ever. And that's whenever anybody compares something in their field, whether business or sports, they always say, you the MJ of whatever it is you do. Until they start saying LeBron or Kobe, then it'll change. But other than that, everybody always says, you're the MJ of whatever you do. And that's pretty much it.
So you've heard that before? Someone said that to you?
Yeah. They said I was the MJ of cooking in the kitchen.
Okay.
Oh, we like that, fellas.
I was wondering where that was going.
Nah, guys. Well, I mean, we definitely want to thank both of you guys for coming on tonight, and we appreciate it, man. We've definitely had a lot of fun, and we wish you guys the best. And I'm sure you'll be watching with the rest of us as the rest of this documentary unfolds.
Yeah, I'll get hammered a little bit more too. So I'm
looking forward to MJ killing Scott. Like I saw it live, I get to see it again.
All right, guys. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem, man. Y'all take care. Good luck with everything.
We'll see you guys. Thanks. See you, Dickey.
All right. See you, Scott.